Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Sotah, Perek Gimel, Chapter 3. We're in the middle of Mishnah 4. We'll just, again, begin reading quickly through the first half that we did yesterday. Eina maspekas lishtais. She doesn't finish drinking. At shepanea marikais. That when she is guilty, she doesn't, by the time, even before she finishes drinking, her face turns pale. Veina boltais, her eyes bulge. Vimis malei skitten. And she appears like becoming full of veins because her face swells up. And they say, meaning the people around say, take her out, take her out. So as not to make the azara impure. If she has a merit, it would delay the effects of the water. There's a merit that can suspend, that can delay things for a year. You can have a merit that delays for 2 years. You could have a merit that delays for 3 years. Now this is where we got up to yesterday, and it's from this part that the Mishnah continues. Because we mentioned this idea of a merit possibly delaying the effects of the water, now the Mishnah makes the following statement. Mikan Amar ben Azai. From here, Ben Azai said, Chayav Adam Lalamid Espitay Torah. A person is obligated to teach his daughter Torah, Shem Tishteh, so that in case she's a Sotah and she drinks, and the water has no effect on her right away, Teidash Hazachus Teilala. She should know this idea that it could be a merit that is delaying it, but not because the water doesn't work. So, being that there is this possibility of her having this misconception of what's going on, therefore, Ben Azai says it's important to teach your daughter Torah so that she should know this. That's Ben Azai. Rebbe Eliezer says, whoever teaches his daughter Torah, it is if he is teaching her he's teaching her physical intimacy. That's a pretty strong statement to make. The point of the statement is that Rebbe Eliezer argues with Ben Azai, and he says that whenever a person studies Torah, Torah sharpens your mind. It can make you very smart and very cunning. And therefore, he says that a female should not be studying Torah so that she does not learn to become cunning and therefore be kind of cunning and tricky in regard to her personal behavior. Now, that does not mean that, so first of all, and what about for men? Why don't you say the same thing by men? So the way they bring down here, based on the Gemara, in the case of men, though, since they are obligated to study Torah and devote much effort to it, that effort has the power to prevent them from sinning. It's based on a difference between whether you have a mitzvah and how much you have to be involved in it or not. Mm-hmm. And therefore, this issue is by a woman more than a man. At the same time, they bring down here on the bottom, everyone agrees that women must be taught the practical laws that are relevant to them. That's not a question. They have to learn that. And they have to learn, as brought down more, they have to learn things that inspire them, that instill Yiras Shamayim, dedication to Hashem. All these are no one argues on that. The question is a more general kind of study of Torah, whether that is something that should be done with a woman or not. And Rabbi Yeshua says, Rabbi Yeshua is going to be agreeing with Rebbe Eliezer, right? A woman would rather have a kav, which is a small amount, basically a small amount of physical sustenance. Meaning she should, the way they bring it down here is, by nature, woman would rather have a lower standard of living and more intimacy with her husband than a higher standard of living and less intimacy. That's the wording, right? Tiflis means intimacy. A woman would rather have a kav, which means a small amount of sustenance, but more intimacy. The tisha kavin aprecious, the 9 kavin, which means a lot of sustenance, but less intimacy. And therefore, because the woman has this strong need, a strong desire for that, one has to be careful. Rabbi Yeshua agrees, Rebbe Eliezer, not to teach her, not to give her the ability to become more cunning and more to be able to hide what she may be doing in inappropriate behavior. Huaya Omer. And then the Gemara brings another statement from Rabbi Yeshua, and it goes like this: Chassid Shaita. Chassid Shaita means a foolish. I'll use the Arskmo word, pietist. Okay, meaning a foolish, pious person. Foolish, pious. What's the foolishness that we're talking about? It means a person who takes piety to foolish extremes. For example, does not save a woman drowning for fear that he'll look at her. Can't look at her. So he's not going to save her from drowning. That's foolish, right? He's acting pious. He may be impressing people like he's pious, maybe impressing people who don't know better that he's pious, but he's a fool. He's an idiot. Okay? Varasha Aram. Rasha Aram means a cunning evildoer. Now, what's cunning about him? So the cunning, the general idea is going to be, as I explained here, a person who deceives people without lying. Doesn't lie, but he's deceiving. So again, dangerous kind of person. What's the example of that? He presents, his example is like this. Let me read from the bottom a little bit more elaboration. The Torah prohibits a person involved in a dispute to present his argument to the judge before his opponent arrives. Get that? He's going to have an argument. He's going to have what we call a din Torah. He's going to have a civil case of sort. He's going to have a civil case in front of a judge, in front of a dayan, rabbinical court. And the Torah says one party cannot show up early and start presenting their side to the judge first. If he does, he might tilt the judge's opinion in his favor, making it harder for the judge to later accept the other side of the story. Apparently, if you have the other person there, I mean, he's going to present his side, right? There's no question he's going to do that. But there's a difference whether the other side is there or not. Okay? He's an evildoer because he violated Torah's commandment. And he's cunning because he made his argument stronger in the eyes of the judge without departing from the truth. I'm not lying. He's telling he's telling the truth, but he's telling it to the judge early enough to try to influence the judge. He's a Rasha because Torah says he's not allowed to do it. But he's cunning, he's smart because he's basically doing what he's doing without lying. Okay? That's the next example. Then we have Isha Prusha, which means a saintly woman. Now, the saintly woman, she ain't so saintly. But she's not so saintly for the following. She is a woman who makes herself look very saintly, but truthfully, she's quite wicked. What's the example? This is a very interesting example. A woman who hides sinful behavior under a pretense of saintliness. For example, she secretly uses witchcraft to prevent a woman from giving birth, and then releases the woman from her severe pain by lifting the spell, but she claims it was her prayers that spared her victim. Meaning she makes it that she's having difficult childbirth, and she goes there and she goes over and she looks like she's davening, right? Really what she's doing is she's removing the witchcraft, but she makes herself look like, this woman, she's so righteous. Her prayers helped this woman be able to have get through a difficult childbirth. So she's a fake, right? She's a charlatan, but she's trying to make herself look righteous. And apparently this was not, as in the times of the Mishna, apparently it happened. And the last one is Makas Prushin. Makas Prushin, they translate as the blows of the saintly. One who causes himself to be injured in order to display his saintliness. For example, now this one they say straight out, he pretends to walk with his eyes closed to avoid looking at women. And what does he do? He bangs into the wall. So he was so righteous. He wouldn't look at a woman, and because of that, he banged into the wall and he was bleeding. Wow. Isn't he? He's amazing. Right? No, he's an idiot. He's a fool. And besides being a fool, in this example, they say straight out, I shouldn't say that. He's pretending. I don't know in the first case by the Chassid Shaita, the guy who he says he's not doing it. Is he sincere? Is he not sincere? I'm not sure, because on the bottom they call all of these people fakers. So they're not, and none of them are sincere. But the Mishnah says all these people, these are people who destroy the world, because they trick people into thinking that they are pious when in fact they are not. Now, why does that destroy the world? Because I would assume, at least my understanding, there's a little bit of different understanding here in the notes, which I don't fully grasp it, fully understand it. But, I would think that what this means is destroys the world, because people who don't know better think this is great, right? And either they give these people credit and stature that they shouldn't be getting, or they learn from it. So in all these cases, again, are they all, the saintly woman, she's definitely a fake. Okay, the person who is a Rasha Aram, the cunning evildoer that presents his case to the judge, right? He's clearly doing something wrong. So he's probably trying to also look like he's honest, but he's really not, because he knows what he's doing here. Okay, so those two, the Chesed Shaita, is he faking? Is he really doing it for real? I don't know. But in the last case, they say that this person banging into the wall, he's not sincere. They're saying he's pretending. You know, I don't know. Maybe even sincere people like that wouldn't go bang into the wall. I don't know exactly. Yeah. But either way, whichever way to learn it, these people are clearly giving people the impression of righteousness, which is not correct, and that is a very dangerous thing. Yeah. Again. It's dangerous because, again, these people are just trying to, again, the way they explain on the bottom is they're trying to promote themselves. It's not for real. I mean, and if it would be for real, would it be any better? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, they seem to be assuming that the people here are doing it to trick people. And that's a very dangerous thing for these people to be seen as pious and righteous, and they're really not. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.